With different accolades. I'm a maestro. I'm a wizard. I'm polo to polo. I'm wonder boy. I'm player extraordinaire. I'm scientist footballer. Different accolades. And you are in the country. I became a coach from showing to the whole Ghana public that this man, after football, he will become a coach because I became a coach player.
And quale Sunday, Mafia clock. Where Danike? Mafia clock egali, Nipasto, when Yafuni Teneke Boboli, Yafuno Fiu Nika, Bobon Waji.
Chico, no Nwaka, Nagbe, some of you by Miniba.
Oh, Messi Bay, I can hear Yake into machine Bami, or local fee. Oh, local Bako, my name into machine.
More often a bone and tower lager or you.
Oh, look, fine. And I was on get shift of Lingalangako. Eh, you won't know me, well, as spices, you fine. Nintal 7 is J. No go by here fine. She may go make a poison. Only tree but for few. She know me. You can go Europe and get poison go.
Coaching is putting your thinking into action. That is all what coaching is about. Now, I studied them, I saw them, I revisited the match they played against us. Then I saw that we gave them enough space to operate because they are full of techniques. The boys, the 14, 20, 10, 8, 12. Very with the ball when you give them space. So we try something called tracking and getting free. Track them, get free and play. So we deny them the space for them to maneuver.
In terms of power play, it's zilch. If you watch our game against Mali, the young man was running away from taking the ball. He didn't want it. Give me away. He was practically running away. He was running away when we were being marooned and we were under attack from the Malians, and he had the opportunity of staking a claim in the team. Anytime an attempt was made to him with the ball, with the pass,
he's running away,
leaving the ball, hiding behind opponent. This whole Telemundo, it's something that sometimes
for the uninitiated, Telemundo is a channel that shows telenovelas.
Yes.
So this is like a soap opera.
It's like a soap opera. This clearly is a soap opera. It's winding down. So let's call Extremadura man from Extremadura man. Mola. When the ball is coming to the player, he's running away. You know what's the game? And shockingly, there's a certain miraculous acrobatism.
Number 6 said, Master San players are cuckoo Mamma Tim Massa. Press a banner, Master San Tim Lanoy shit. Tim would have press the mammy. Sakim Siege. Where? Sakim Siege. Aha. Timo Verna. What's it? Timo Verna. Aha. Caves. Why? Caves. Caves me, I saw. Is a sister circulator, Mummy more. Sister circulator only more. A year, I want to say a Brazil anyway. Ya sign no. Brazil ni bay. O friend one said silver so I silver. Aha, Tiago silver. You say
me the fellas in on against stand. My son be say me Adamu. I not gonna need my job. Go marry. No, you see, I don't need my job. Go marry.
So you refuse to punish him.
They're not the punishment. It serves you right. No, not the punishment. See. You choose. You choose love over job. That is exactly what you do. Because see what Richard go do. Football no day. Richard go marry.
Yeah.
So with the footballer, see, from August 2019 to December 29, we don't play football. No marry. We start late after we fall. He said they go marry.
That be the time where money catch.
No. So you choose love over career. And so if today you get your lover, the coach say they give you more time to go chop love. So it's not a big deal. Me, I guess that I thought this matter.
Does Don Bote still want to play football? You are 36 years old.
Forget about the age.
We cannot forget about the age, Don. You are 36.
Yeah, 36. You doubt 36. Inami. Forget about the age. What you want me to come and do for you?
You still think you can perform at the highest level?
Why?
In Ghana?
Yeah. Not in Ghana, sir.
Anywhere?
Yeah.
You train?
Serious.
By yourself?
Always.
Why don't you want to join a club and train?
You see, that's what I'm saying. Them themselves, they don't believe themselves. The coaches don't believe themselves. They are not real coaches. They don't. You have to believe yourself that no, this guy can do it for me. If you believe me, I can do it. But so far as you just relax yourself, no, if I come safe, I won't get that spirit because you don't believe me.
So you think that if a Premier League team were to give you an opportunity to play, you would make an impact?
Ghana, yeah.
Yes.
I can play pass all the current players.
The
current players in Ghana Premier League.
That's a serious statement coming from somebody who hasn't played in almost a year.
You know something? I know myself. That's why I said, if you don't know me, you don't know me.
You see, as for a game, like when you get a chance, every blessed player will decide to score, and then to decide to catch the ball. So when you both decide together, then you miss the chance. I decide differently, and he also decided differently, and our decision was together. That's why he was able to catch the ball. So I think next time I'll raise my head and let the ball close and put the ball.
You have 3 or 4 phones. What messages have you been receiving?
I haven't read them because they keep on coming. They keep on coming. I think that I have to turn one of the phone off.
You haven't read any of them? Messages?
No, not at all. Look, they still calling. They still calling. Phones are calling.
Benjamin Nketiah here. Show proudly brought to us Shell Helix, proud new sponsors of the show, and also Betway. Now, as far as Shell are concerned, everybody's looking for that one thing that pushes them to bring out their best and enables them to reach peak performance. Your car wants this too, and that's why your best bet is to give it Shell Helix engine oil. Lubricants mu nkoswo hene. Shell Helix is specially designed to bring the best out of your engine, protecting it from wear and tear while providing the power and performance needed to give you the best ride every time. So whether you are cruising on the open road or battling with busy traffic, Shell Helix will keep your engine running smoothly. Choose Shell Helix, lubricants mu nkoswo hene, for the ultimate power, performance, and protection. Visit your local Shell station today and experience the difference for yourself. Our Betway say you should get Ready for a chance to win big in the Betway Athena Kessia jackpot. Pick 17 with only 1 CD 50 pesos, and you could win 16.5 million Ghana cedis. You heard that right. You can also play the item 13 jackpot with just 1 Ghana CD to win 270,000 Ghana cedis, or play the tap-in jackpot with only 50 pesos to win 5,000 Ghana cedis. Way your jackpot muhene into diwo hene. Deposit via Betway Top Up. Top up at any Momo vendor near you. Top up is free of any charges. Sign up and play at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, bet your way. And talking about having it your way, we will have it our way tonight in the studio. Nathan Kwao is here. Evans Ofochu Mansu Pichichi. Susu Graham is here. You out there as well can join us via text, WhatsApp, and Telegram 0549-986-996. 0549-986-996. Before we even get into the topics for today, guys, good evening and welcome to the show. Charlie, what are you going?
We are on.
It's been a very interesting sporting week, you know. Mixed things. There's the footballing aspects of it. There's the off-pitch aspects of it, and then there's the drama bit of it. I don't know, depending on what eyes you have and what binoculars or telescope you have, you'll be looking at different things. Let me just sample thoughts on what's been occupying everybody's mind this weekend or this week before we even get to Suzu. Let me start.
I think what has really stood out for me this week is what happened yesterday with Manchester United, in the sense that they've, from what we understand, Lisandro Martinez will probably not play this season. Yep. He's broken one of his toes or his metatarsal. One of the bones in his feet is broken.
Yeah.
So he's out at, they said minimum 6 weeks. But considering how long is left, by the time,
that's
he's basically gone. We don't know what's happening with Rafael Varane. Okay, Shaw and McTominay are back in training. We might see them return this weekend. But I think without Lisandro Martinez and Varane going forward, considering how long Varane is out, it will be a very interesting end of the season for Manchester United. The top four that looks so secure could become problematic. The FA Cup they are going for, it could become a problem. The Europa League they are trying to win, another problem, because the games are coming. The fitness is not there. So the end of Manchester United's season right now has been changed very drastically by Thursday night. Aside the result was also disappointing, but it's going to be a very interesting one. So that's what caught my eye. I know we all saw the Champions League and there were some interesting games. But for me, that has bigger implications going forward. I think the Champions League, someone was going to lose anyway. So it be like that. I think everyone will understand that. Yeah. I mean, I was more surprised by the hefty score Manchester City delivered on Bayern. I think that was a surprise. I expected Man City to win. I said it before.
But you thought they would be closer.
Yeah, I thought, like I said before, the whole Tuchel Pep thing is a bit overplayed in my opinion. So I wasn't surprised he lost. But 3-0 was a bit much. And I will blame Upamecano. I've said it before. I don't rate him. And he showed exactly why.
From that 3-0 humbling, a lot of things have happened. People have punched their teammates. People have been hiding their lips while arriving at the airport. So exactly. a lot of things from there. We'll get into that. Pichichi, what's been on your mind this week? A lot's been happening in the world of sport.
Exactly. Yes, the UEFA Champions League is one. Susu has highlighted that as well. And Ben, today I try to enjoy our football, Ghana Premier League, and just at the sight of it.
Charlie, but how is this? How is this a pitch?
Just
for,
when,
you know, I get tired of talking about this particular.
Exactly,
matter.
it's a cliche now. So just when I try to enjoy, one of those days I felt okay. Let me try and enjoy our own.
Yeah.
So I was just in the newsroom, and then after subscribing to our league, I've paid for it. I was like, okay, let me try to enjoy it. See.
Did you have to play the game I call wait, like looking for the ball? They call it looking for the ball. When you're watching,
you know those books that they used to have in the library. Find the missing ball. Where's Waldo? Finding Waldo. You know that he wears like the stripe, the red and white.
See, Kotoko Brekum Chelsea. Brekum Golden City Park. I kept looking for the ball on the pitch because Charlie.
You have to bring the thing closer, try and change the resolution.
And how do we allow these games to be on our telly?
Club
you ask yourself how, just how.
It's honestly a fact in this country.
I'm looking at this pitch. The pitch that we used to play on in high school was nicer than this.
Exactly, way better.
This is a potato patch.
We try hard not to say much. We know they'll be out there, be like, "Oh, these guys."
Why are you always criticizing the local
But
game?
see, anyone who got to watch a glimpse of the Kotoko Brekum Chelsea game today, just let me know your thoughts. The pitch condition and all that. Because for me, I think that I must admit, I have regretted paying for this coverage. Absolutely.
You pay for start time?
Yes. I have regretted paying for this coverage.
Personally.
Because I paid to enjoy our own.
You're not enjoying it?
Man, how can you enjoy this?
But they have, nice movie channels on Star Times and other things. So you get value for money. Don't worry.
The guy has paid for it. He's not enjoying it. Nathan.
Yeah.
I mean, what's up with your week? Sports, mix. Hakimi, Sane, Mane.
The week started with this. So when I was preparing the breakfast daily sports bulletin for telly at home, then I see the story. Stephen Appiah says, one day footballers will run. Oh, okay, that's a very interesting. I mean, it's the first time I'm hearing Tornado say this. Then it degenerated into all kinds of crazy exchanges. You have hey, yo.
Let's proceed. On Sports Panorama, somebody can send a message that can freeze the show for a couple of seconds. We'll get there, Nathan. Make your point.
Você acha que quando esse boss quem aparece tá? Oh Lord, look. Then I heard all kinds of funny stories about executive council members, what are they? Executive council. Yeah. All kinds of things that if you are not knowledgeable, you can't run football. And listen,
you are being diplomatic. They say if you want to run football, go to school.
Go to school. You see,
in this rawest form, that's what was said.
Yeah. I've heard.
I mean, the sentiment isn't unreasonable.
Yep.
But there's also a diplomatic way to go about some of these things.
Exactly.
What I will say is this. You see, we all want the betterment of this game. Yeah. Which is you spoke about. Look at the quality of the football pitch we are playing on. Look at the challenges we have as a country trying to grow this game. Okay? Look at what we are experiencing at various levels. Things just aren't making sense. Coaches are not being paid. We are struggling to understand what is going on. We are not even getting clarity of information, for example, on basic things. How much is the Black Stars coach earning? We don't know. How much is the new Black Queens head coach earning? We don't know. You have coaches who are, who have not been paid. Somebody say, "Oh, that's not the FA's mandate." But the point is, they are neck deep in this, in the sense that they administer the game, so they should check all things. And to see football, football people, as we call them, members of the Football Republic, saying all kinds of things, telling people as if to mean that they are in this nice privileged space. And you can't get in. It doesn't work that. Of course, we understand that to do any kind of admin, you need some education. It is very true. But to dismiss Stephen Appiah in that sense, I thought that it was so wrong.
Our tornado.
In any case, look, I'm not saying that he's above education. Everybody needs that. In any case, when the normalization committee and FIFA suggested that people who wanted to run football in Ghana during the normalization should go and get degrees, some people were up in arms. They said, "What are we saying? Football should be left with the football people." I mean, so if somebody says one day footballers should run the game or run the game, great. What do we do as a country to ensure that the transition we are giving to these guys makes sense? Yeah. Some people may not have the money to sponsor themselves. Some other former footballers had the funds, they saw what they wanted to do, they transitioned nicely. Others may need help. And I'm happy with the fact that the current FA is helping some of the ex-female footballers. It is great. Why don't they extend the same courtesy to some of the male footballers and all of that? And some people should watch how they speak. You don't have to be that dismissive. You really don't have to be. The football that you run, it's not like you yourself went to school to go and learn. Your training is probably in some other thing. You are in this space because you love it, and over time, years of experience have given you lessons, and so you have the knowledge. You didn't sit in a classroom to learn how to run football. So I think that some of the football people also need to be very careful of the things they say and stop being dismissive, because for some of them, when we take the football away, you have nothing to you. That is all you have. So please, let us have some decency and learn how to communicate. So that's the first thing. Then the Champions League. When the game between Man City and Bayern Munich started, I'm sure a lot of you guys must have seen that. After like 5 minutes, I tweeted. Essentially, I said this game was high quality, and it was high quality to the very end. And I think Manchester City really played well. When I was watching, in my mind, I said City were brilliant. They were better. Yes, they won 3-0. In hindsight, I looked at that game again, and I think Munich gave themselves... Tactically, you could tell that Thomas Tuchel had planned for a lot of the things. What he hadn't planned for were the mistakes his team made. And sometimes...
I never plan for them.
You can't plan for them. But you still have to give credit to Manchester City. I thought a tactical scheme that Pep put in place to be going from a back three to a back four, just seeing Manuela. And Manuela Akanji was one of my star performers in that game. I thought he handled himself playing at right back really well. He gave Man City a lot of solidity. And John Stones' ability to move from the back four.
I think we'll actually have to even give that some more,
to move into midfield to support Rod. It was just brilliant to watch. Just seeing players perform at that high level, almost perfect. And I think Man City were value for their money. They were value for their lead. They were brilliant. Bayern Munich themselves, I think if they had scored once, maybe at 1-0 or maybe at 2-1, it may have changed the complexion of the tie. But they have a lot on their hands. And like you said, following that, then there's this episode between Sane and Mane and punches and all of that. I think Munich will look at this season and say that this season has been very turbulent by their own high standards. How often do you hear Bayern Munich players do this? It's rare. You don't find that. And so they won't be too happy with their season turning out that way. The final bit, though, and Susu mentioned it, last night's Europa League tie. Look, when a few weeks ago, a colleague of ours made this point, and he's been making it on Twitter, Citro, and he talks about the fact that he thinks that, and he's not, a lot of people share that view, that Eric Ten Hag has overachieved with this team. Initially, lots of people did not quite understand. I think Man United's situation as it looks now, with Licha Martinez out, nobody knows the status of Varane. And United will have to try and work themselves through the next 2 months or so. It does highlight the fact that Eric Ten Hag has done wonders with this team. Of course, it helps when some things go your way. For example, if you've got Licha Martinez, you've got Casemiro, you've got Bruno playing well and playing more sensibly now than before, you've got Eriksen, and you've got Rashford on form. It helps your transition quicker, because a project that should take a certain amount of time is hastened by some of the fact that you've brought in quality and players are delivering. Personally, did I think Man United would be here at the start of the season? No, because in my mind, this is what I envisaged. I thought United would comfortably finish 5th this season, have a decent cup run, next season finish 4th, win 1 trophy, the season after that finish 3rd, and then they'll see if they can challenge for the title sometime later. But I think Eric Ten Hag has worked himself into a good position. The next few weeks will depend on him as a manager, how he handles it tactically, which is important. But more importantly, how the players handle the weight of pressure. The weight of pressure, because United have got a few more complicated games to play. The home game against Chelsea. That away tie at Spurs. And one other game that is not often mentioned, the home game against Villa. That game will be
Villa away from home have been so good this season.
We'll get into the Europa League in detail. So that's the word from the guys.
Well, I want to go back to Tuchel and the game plan and that.
Hold on, I'll get back to that in a bit. Let me get to the local issues. This one here says that it's from a Kia from DC. Says, what a pitch for the game between Chelsea and Antwerp FC. I don't know if Antwerp is. I think you mean Asante Kotoko. It says, the educated minds are cooking. The Benabout does not even come close. Bowley made the right prediction, but for the wrong Chelsea. Interesting. The Stew Maker from Torino, Italy says, of course you are live. Hashtag Sports Panorama. Abencio from Spintex says, as for Frank Lampard, Emma Hayes is even better than him. Charlie, what is the meaning of this? But Emma Hayes
I don't like the even
but
there.
Emma Hayes has been achieving. I mean, she's been like bringing in the kind of success Emma Hayes has seen. Lampard is yet to come close.
But let's not compare women's football and.
No, but I mean, just
you're
what
only as good as what you are doing. You
exactly.
can't say even when someone is on the top coaches
in the world, actually in her field. Lambert from Dodoa says that this evening, my problem is when will Maguire stop disgracing us at Man United? Only made him captain and failed. If Ten Hag wants to be successful at United, he should stay away from him or should do away with him. The way people can throw and tag us on social media after he has done his things, as if we played the football. Interesting.
Lipo Mama has a message for you. You missed that.
Lipo Mama says, my panorama crew, I miss you all.
We miss you too.
Ateta has no excuse not to win the EPL. So is Klopp still supposed to coach Liverpool on Monday against Leeds?
Next season and the season after.
Exactly. I will force him to resign. I'm interested in how that will happen. Belly Inside Tema says that in as much as we blame players for their performance, sometimes the coach also needs to be blamed. Why should you sub Sancho, who is beginning to find his feet, for Ilanga, who hasn't kicked the ball in about 4 months in an important game of the season? Why sub Martial, who can score at any time for Vegas? Why make all your subs within 70 minutes, knowing there can be a sending off or injury towards the end of the game? Everything the coach did was why? I'm disappointed, but I still believe we shall qualify. Go up. Let me see. Go up. This one here. From I think you should go all the way down. I'll get back to that in a bit. Let's get into the talk of that Stephen Appiah conversation about FA president. Let me play you that insert that generated all the controversy.
It's not Stephen Appiah alone. I think at times it's sad because the contacts that we have, the people that we can pick phones and call, body and a shock. Times so you have chance, no. I mean, legends, no, former players, no, amu chance, no, around that way. And Masuya Bibiana ma say, I mean, football is run by footballers. It's not about the grammar and your brother now be kind and anyway. That's why I call Italy, no, not Italian casa. But coach, or chair we are because of the understanding of the game, no. Utiasi without speaking Italian.
Okay.
So I hope say it's not Stephen Appiah. I hope say one day one of us bet to me Abeli deny na be support say me are fine. Me colleagues no more on be support obi sunya yes you be way because you were contacts no and the contact is just there. Then one thing at times you say some of us we are very humble, but when you know your value how who onyama bi mu say ube call bi ho na oni ube diagro ye nyina ye pese ye mboa ye pese ye way because at times now I mean enye cry ya be ye bi. There was a time I know be person be born national team no bi o. There was a time I me use me seek at the top ticket my players by Ghana. There was a time that me try winning bonuses. Wow. And today when who say omu ye nyama say I will be say then I will be there ube say sky then.
Wow. Let me just play that again if you didn't hear that. Stephen Appiah says there was a time where he was using his own money to pay winning bonuses. There was a time where he was buying plane tickets for Black Stars players to come and play national team games. No, play that again for me.
It's not Stephen Appiah alone. I think at times it's sad because the contacts that we have, the people that we can pick phones and call, body and a shock. Times so you have chance, no. I mean, legends, no, former players, no, amu chance, no, around that way. And Masuya Bibiana ma say, I mean, football is run by footballers. It's not about the grammar and your brother now be kind and anyway. That's why I call Italy, no, not Italian casa. But coach, or chair we are because of the understanding of the game, no. Utiasi without speaking Italian.
Okay.
So I hope say it's not Stephen Appiah. I hope say one day one of us bet to me Abeli deny na be support say me are fine. Me colleagues no more on my be support. Obi sunya yes you be way because you were contacts no and the contact is just there. Then one thing at times, hey, yeah, you say, some of us, we are very humble, but when you know your value, I won't how who on yama be say ube call be now on ube diagro. Yen in I per se yemboa, ye per se ye way because at times now, I mean, and ye cry ya be. There was a time I know be person be born national team no be. There was a time I know me use me seek at the top ticket my players bagana. There was a time that me try winning bonuses. Wow. And today when who say omu ye nyama say I will be say then I will be there will be say sky then.
So Stephen up here, that's very heartfelt. Just a few things I picked out from what he said. So first thing that stuck out to me is that he says that as ex-footballers, they have more access and more contacts than your average football person. That's the first thing that stuck with me. He says they have access, the contacts, they are just there. He says they're not even using them. Secondly, he says he will not go, and I'm not saying that there's anything brewing. He says he will not go and speak to anybody who will play with his intelligence, knowing very much how much he is worth and how much knowledge he can bring to the game. I'm not trying to say anything, but is Stephen Appiah trying to say in any way that perhaps he has offered advice to the current FA and they have not taken it on board? Is he saying that he's not happy with the direction of football in this country based on the sentiments he has made? And then he also touches on something that's very important. He says that he knows that football is run by footballers. Bayern Munich are a perfect example of that philosophy he's trying to expound. But very interesting thoughts there from Stephen Appiah. Let me just give you a few examples of. There have been footballers who have been FA presidents, so it's not all in a vacuum. So if you go to Morocco, for instance, Dries Bamous was former Morocco midfielder, played for FAR Rabat from 1963 to 75, made 43 appearances. He was FA president from 86 to 1992. You can also talk about Samuel Eto'o currently.
For Cameroon?
Legendary Samuel Eto'o. I don't even need to go through his resume. Real Madrid, Mallorca, Inter Milan, Chelsea, the list goes on and on.
Forgot most importantly, Barcelona.
Barcelona, thank you very much. So, I mean, I can't even talk. If you go to Cameroon right now, their football has improved so much in terms of infrastructure, in terms of minimum requirements. Like they have a minimum wage now for their league. So there's Samuel Eto'o to point to. There's Jean-Michel Mbono from Congo as well, and so. Jean-Michel Mbono from Congo played as a center forward during his days, made several appearances for the senior Congolese national team. So there's that. So a lot of individuals have left football. Nathan, Ronaldo has started the conversation. I think it's an interesting conversation. It's about leadership. It's about what is suited to the needs of the people. He says that footballers who have played the game, they just understand it better than other people who are coming from other areas.
I'm listening to. I agree, and I also agree that to do this, you need some kind of grooming and coaching. Does it mean you have to go and get a university degree? Probably not. But I completely.
Just before you go on, that interview we played was from Sumpa FM.
Yes,
so just to clarify,
yes.
Big ups to Atapoko and the guys at Sumpa FM. Yeah.
They are doing some good work. So big ups to the guys. So yes, I completely understand him when he says that footballers need to be, and it is true. You cannot run the game and not have former footballers involved at one level or the other. They have played the game before. They know what they went through, especially in this context of ours, as they were coming up. So they understand what it means to be a footballer. And they will understand what will help shape the next footballer and what will take this game from where it is to the next level. Do we need administrators too? Yes, of course. We also need people who know how to get things done. They can execute, can push paper, that kind of thing. So I feel that a good marriage between the technocrats and former footballers will make a lot of sense. I'm not saying we should pack the FA. We shouldn't also take all former and throw them there that run the game. No, you need people with that kind of skill So for me, a good marriage will work. But where I agree with Tornado through and through, Stephen Appiah through and through, is that you need footballers in the business of running football. You need them there. They may not be in charge, but I feel they need to be involved greatly.
One way or the other. Even if they are not heading it, they should be in charge.
One way or the they need to be involved. They need to be involved. Because they better understand the principal actors of this game, i.e. the players. For example, it beats my imagination, and I've heard, and I'm yet to confirm that, for example, former Black Stars footballer Samuel Sekufo, I've heard some people speculate and say
that he could venture into an arena soon?
That he's no longer part of the Black Stars management committee. I've heard some colleagues
following the World Cup
say, whether it is true or not, I'm observing. I haven't seen Sami Kofo near the Black Stars in a while.
The last 2 games.
So I'm observing to see whether it is true or not. For example, we cannot say have the Black Stars and not have a former Black Stars, a distinguished Black Stars player in that setup. In that setup. Okay? Maybe as part of the management committee or in one role or the other, whatever.
Technical advice.
Yes, in other places, for example, somebody like Oliver Bierhoff, his transition from player to German national team manager, of course, was based on a lot of learning, grooming, and understanding the role. Because in their space, what the team manager does is very different from what another country's team manager will do. So he had to undergo some training. But the point is, Oliver Bierhoff, is part of the structure. He will understand players from his perspective of being a former one himself. So footballers need to be part of this game. We cannot leave it alone to the technocrats and the so-called football people. And that is where I completely side with Stephen Appiah. You need footballers in the mix. Footballers who understand. The other side of the argument, though, that I will concede and make is that if footballers say they want to be part of football, it means that there are certain things that will require grooming. For example, if you say, oh, I played, so I want to coach, it doesn't work that way. You will need some education to coach because coaching is a science. So for the ex-footballers who say, I want to coach, I'm begging you, you need some education. And on that score, we can't do anything to help you. You will have to go through some proper technical training to understand the nuances of the game from that perspective. You may have played as a footballer, it's fine. But to coach, we need to let you go through the process so that when you are working well. You are working scientifically. You are working in accordance with modern trends, and you can do a good job. Because coaching alone is not standing there and shouting, hey, Janiso, channel. That's not the only thing. Those things. No. Even when you do that, you see, you do it, because you are communicating, but you see, there's certain knowledge and things that come with it. So I completely agree with ex-footballers getting involved, depending on what it is they want to do. If they require training, let us give them the training. And I go back to the point that the GFA must be very interested in what footballers are doing now and what they want to do after they retire. Because there are a lot of great brains we leave unattended to. And then they sink their lives into all kinds of very nasty things. And by the time we realize they are on their deathbed, and then we are struggling to raise money for them, and then we want to save them, and it's too late. I feel the GFA should be very interested in what footballers do now and what they want to do when they hang up their boots.
I think Tony Bafo has been trumpeting this for a very long time.
Yeah. But very important.
You know what I'm just looking at right now. So if you look at Senegal, who have been a beacon of success, at least in the short term, in a short-term conversation, Augustin Senghor is Senegalese FA president. Augustin Senghor is a politician. Yeah. He's a politician, no football background at all, but he happens to own a football club in the country, and through that, so he's a football person, but he's a politician.
In that football ecosystem, you have those who are like that. They have their place. But I'm saying that.
And he's been knowledgeable to bring in Aliou Cisse, Khalil Fadiga. He surrounded the national team with.
You cannot run football at a certain level without
elite footballers. Yeah. So you want to make a point?
No,
I'll come back to
that's the whole point. If the footballers have to be there, but there's some merit in saying that you have to have some knowledge. And the same way we do coaching courses, I don't think it's unreasonable that the FA can't invest in doing administration courses for players to come in. I think if this is what you're suggesting, it makes sense to okay, if you don't have the education, let's help them get the education. Because this, you have to be educated. Comment, and you're basically trying to keep them away. You're using it to create a bar. To gatekeep. Exactly, that's the right way. You're using it to gatekeep. If you're using it to gatekeep, it's a problem. Because you can't say that people who have played the game, who are interested, who want to come, you want to keep them out.
And like Tornado said, for instance, not to even cut you, he said, if, for instance, you need to, let's say, develop your game, look at the contacts he made at Juventus, Fenerbahce, Parma. He can call on any of these people at any time.
With Pep Guardiola.
Exactly.
Imagine.
Pavel Nedved is a good buddy of his.
He can even call Pep Guardiola and say, talk, come and do coaching.
Come and do one or two
coaching
things
seminar.
You know? Look at Michael Essien, for example.
I'm just giving an example. You can get look at the managers some of these guys have played under. It's just to show you that he has a point about the contact and it helps. But right now, where we are in the world, you can't say you're going to sit in your house and just build everything yourself. You have to find out what other people are doing. Look at right now. How many of the best coaches in the world are coaching in their own country? Let's think about it. That should just show you that right now, where people are going to find the best ideas, it's not by sitting at home. It's by going out, learning, and before you even come back. Because look at someone like Ancelotti. Look at all the places he's been. This is the only person to win the league in Europe's top 5 leagues, right? So it shows he's been everywhere.
On Wednesday, it was crazy. He had coached every one of the teams that were playing on Wednesday. Napoli, AC Milan, Real Madrid, and then Chelsea. He had coached every one of them.
He had coached all of them. That should just tell you that it's not, you don't get where you are by sitting down.
And you know what's funny? A lot of people look at Ancelotti now, like how he looks. People don't remember that Ancelotti was actually a footballer. There are a lot of people who actually don't remember.
2 Champions Leagues with Milan.
Part of
Saki's Milan. And you know when they were buying him, he was a bit older. There was a bit of an uproar. They say his knees are not good. He's old. He's this and that. You guys should go and watch the goal he scored when Milan beat Real Madrid 5-0. You should go and watch the goal. The guy was a player. But the point is, if we can't gatekeep football, if there's people who have been there, done that, their experience is valuable. We can't say we keep them out. So if we are saying that there's something they are not doing right, that's precluding them from being brought into the fold, let's help them get there. Sure. So for me, if we are doing coaching courses so our footballers can become coaches, let's also start doing administrative courses so that they can become administrators, so they have the right skills to do the work, because the work is not just I know football.
Exactly.
You know,
well, there's this other half
that they can do as well.
Then
there's a scientific basis to the game.
They must be given the training. The only caveat I will add is that for those who are interested, because not every footballer would even want to be involved in football when they are done playing. So that caveat will have to stay. But the point is, if people show interest or they show a certain aptitude, I know coaches who, when they were playing, everybody could tell that this guy has got a great brain. And his colleagues,
this guy would make a good coach.
Colleagues will suggest to them, look, why don't you try it? Why don't you try it? And some of them have turned out really well.
Dauda is an example. He's coming up really well as a coach. Laie Kingston is an example.
So, Ben, here's my point on this issue. I think that, one, Stephen Appiah is trying to drive the conversation to something interesting. Yes, the GFA has done something great for our former footballers. You look at the various national teams, and they're surrounded by the various ex-footballers. The Black Meteors is managed by an ex-footballer, that's Ibrahim Tanko.
Atram,
you look at Atram, you look at Michael Osei for the Meteors, you look at even the Black Stars. There's George Boateng, the former player. Maybe he didn't play for Ghana though, but he's a former player. Look at the under-20 side also. So basically, there are former players around the various national teams. But the point that I think Appiah is trying to drive is this, that here in Ghana, when it comes to ex-footballers, our mind goes to coaching. But he's trying to move the conversation to policy making. That we shouldn't just see them as, okay, former footballers. So
come and help.
Coaching is just
come
their
and be
area.
in the background.
Yes.
They think they are ready to lead the whole football industry.
There should be an area where they should be policy makers. They should be able to bring policies that will be implemented to help Ghana football. That's the conversation that Stephen Appiah is trying to drive here. And I side with everyone who says that.
You know what's funny? A lot of his colleagues actually share his sentiment.
Exactly.
I just also want to say something small. They are also not entitled to be there.
That's
we should also clarify that. You are not entitled to anything.
I think where maybe people were not happy with his statement was when he said football is all about English alone and all that. But I think the point I was trying to say is this, that yes, they will try to learn, but we shouldn't base our judgment on, oh, these guys are footballers, and so they've not gone to school and all that. See, I look at how we even elect our president. That's a GFA president in Ghana. And for a former footballer to try to win this period, you need lots of cash. You need lots of lobbying. You need to make lots of friends.
And
ask yourself,
they have all those contacts.
See, ask yourself, for these footballers who just finished playing and are trying to create all this, it will take them some time to try to create all this. Unlike normal the various football administrators who are already friends. Because you need to convince the 48 Division 1 clubs. You need to have links at the Premier League clubs. Because on election day, they are those who vote for you.
Maybe Tornado is not even happy with the current machinery
the structure and all that.
Of how the election.
I remember how Didier Drogba lost his election in Ivory Coast. It's not easy if you've played your football outside Ghana and you're coming back to try to find a place in the Ghana football setup. It's not easy. So I think he's trying to drive that conversation towards that area. That don't see us as just footballers who are good as coaches. There's an area, a huge area that you guys are ignoring, which is policy making. We can also be good as GFA president because look at our 23 former FA presidents so far, plus Kate Okrak. So that's 22 plus Kate, 23. How many of them are footballers? Ben Kofi, that's the 20th president, was a ex-Black Stars footballer.
Yep.
But you look through, most of them didn't play to the highest level.
Most of them were politicians and administrators.
You see, so Appiah just trying to say that, even if not for him, Stephen Appiah, getting to the top of Ghana football, we should try to have that conversation, try to enlighten his teammates or his colleagues that, it's high time we look beyond the coaching area alone for former footballers. It's time that we try to have that conversation and see, okay, which one of us can be good enough for the GFA presidency, and then we help that person to reach that level. It will not be easy at the moment because you need to have so much to become a GFA president. I can tell you, Ket's presidency didn't start now. I'm sure it's something that planned a long time. You have to make friends, you have to lobby, you have to, and so he's just trying to tell his colleagues that this is the moment. If one of us thinks that in the long term he can be a good GFA president, let's try.
But the conversation starts now.
Exactly. So, but I'm kind of fortunate how some of the executive council members took the conversation. I know Odosafo has apologized for that comment he made for Sunapia to try and go to school instead of focusing on the GFA presidency. So let's move on from that. But I feel that once this GFA has showed that they're going to help former footballers with the creation of the footballers, I think we have former footballers fund or something. It's high time we help these footballers as well know that they have a place in the policy making of Ghana football. We shouldn't just see them as coaches and then give them national team appointment. That's all Snapia is saying. And I think that for those of you who are insulting a legend like him, he said in the voice clip that there was a point in the Black Stars where he had to pay our winning bonus. So if you know the story of the Black Stars, you know that it wasn't this rosy.
Yeah.
There were days at the Black Stars where
people had to sweat, people had to sacrifice to get to this point.
And so he has seen all this situation and he's telling you that
it can be better than this.
Let's try to better it. He's spoken about the links as well. And before I highlighted the links he has at the top European clubs. And I think that yes, if we get some of these guys closer to the GFA, even they can start with the various committees. They should be heading the committees, not just as members. They should be heading the committees so that it can open doors for them in terms of administrative duties. And then we see what the conversations
I think
it's a good conversation.
I always say that Germany is always a good place to go because Germany has one of the most respected football programs ever created. Bayern Munich are a good example. The German national team are a good example. Remember, Oliver Bierhoff was in charge of running affairs there before the World Cup catastrophe, and he honorably resigned. Rudi Vola and co are still holding up. But just give us a quick overview of, Bayern Munich and how they run their structure with players and how that has turned into like such a good machine over time.
Look, I think the Bayern model is, and you see this with a lot of other clubs. I think because of the way football is run in Germany, I think because the clubs are owned by fans. So the fans look to their players. I think that's part of the reason the players have so much power and are able to get into these positions very easily. Because if it's a fan-run club where the fans vote on matters, you are elected by the fans, it makes a difference. It's similar to Barcelona where we see ex-players also getting these roles because there's the fan engagement. But if your club or organization is not being run by the fans, let's say you are a Brighton, for example, where an investor has come in, he wants to make money. He's looking for certain kind of professional. So it depends on the model you are doing. But I think for the Black Stars and for the GFA in general, if you see the GFA as something that's not a money-making venture, it's a state endeavor, that kind of thing. It's something for the nation. you are going to have to look at the people who have been in the sports before, so the footballers. But you also need the right mix of people who can liaise with government, understand some of the kind of legal things you have. It's good we have lawyers there because there's a lot of laws and regulations involved with football. So it's good that we have some lawyers in there, like Prosper Ado. Great. It's great that he fits that profile that he's there. But it's also good to have footballers mixing in. Like, there's no one size fits all because you can see there's a lot of FAs that there's no footballers involved. They are doing well. There's also FAs, there's a lot of footballers involved. They are doing well. I think the thing is just the coordination, the ideas, and there has to be a clear agenda. And the people who fit the agenda and can do things should be put in positions. That's how I see it. But I do feel that we do need a bit more ex-footballers because it's a bit much that there's none in the administration. I think that's
a lot. So
that's very... we've gone too far to the extreme. It doesn't guarantee success, but their voice is necessary.
Give the ex-footballers their rightful slice of the football administration cake. Cake no be arbitrary. That's the word of Stephen Tornado up here. Let's get to other happenings. The UEFA Champions League is high on the agenda because this week, Chelsea fans were buoyant. I'm not sure where the confidence came from. I'm not sure. Look, like...
You remember one of our colleagues said, bet all the money you
Somebody
have.
said, put your life's fortune on it because Chelsea would come out smiling and popping champagne. Mensa Duncan, wherever you are, good evening. Jude Duncan, good evening wherever you are. Why? Good evening to you wherever you are.
But don't forget Boss Bob.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's start off with that Manchester City game and let's get to the hardcore breakdown of it. I enjoyed watching Manchester City, even though I hate to admit it, but I enjoyed watching it, and I've enjoyed watching that whole transformation and moving of John Stones as a centre back to a right wing back, sometimes back into a pivot DM role, and how much he has adapted to it seamlessly.
You must have high IQ.
You've read Inverting the Pyramid.
I have.
He's playing halfback. You know halfback.
I know, and you see that's like something that is. It's been almost extinct in football, I mean, in recent times, until Pep Guardiola decided to wake it up.
But Ben, I think there's one player you need to give flowers to.
Who is
Jack Grealish.
Oh yeah. Listen.
Because you are one person who's always been saying,
No, I've been on his case. No, that's it's only fair.
You agree to that?
No, I do agree, honestly. And it's not even just on the offensive side of things. I think that his Manchester City spell has just transformed. I would go back to...
do you remember Mahrez even?
Exactly.
When he started.
I would go back to, let's say, the start of the second round of this season. It's almost like he flipped a switch that said, I'm going to give extra in the game. And so there have even been games where it's not even been his offensive coordination, but his ability to track back. I remember in the Liverpool game, there was a certain play where
because
he ran almost 30 yards across the pitch
to stop that pass. And then from that play, Man City went to find.
And it's crazy because Grealish is at one end defending. The next couple of seconds, he's up the field helping to build the attack.
For all you know, his first season and a half, his fitness was not up there.
Very
if you are
possible.
playing for Aston Villa, the amount of pressing you are doing is not as much. You don't have the ball as much. You are camped in your half because the style they were playing. Maybe it's just his fitness wasn't up to date. So when he was playing, he was struggling. That could just have been.
I also think a lot of scrutiny
has got into his play.
I mean, you are worth £100 million. I
think the British press have let him actually get a pass. It's always been international media actually pressing his neck.
You see, that's one of the things I feel we don't do well as media in Ghana. I don't think we protect our players enough. Because I feel like if it was another, like if you look at what the British players, they get away with a lot. There's a lot of...
Jack Grealish has gotten away with being rubbish for a year and a half.
And they really hype their players as well. But we don't tend to. I think...
No, I think our challenge is that when we defend... I think for us, it's polarities. Two polar ends.
Yeah.
If we are defending to the hilt no matter what.
Yeah.
And if we are coming after you, we are coming hard. There's never so you notice that a lot of... Sometimes you listen to colleague journalists talk, and you can tell that in their mind, once this guy is not in their good books, that's the end.
Exactly.
But
and then if they like you to, they like you to the very end.
For the Grealish issue, I think that's one, I must Lord Pep Guardiola for the patience he had with Grealish.
If you buy a player 100 million, you know go have patience.
Typically, I know how Pep Guardiola is on his players. If you don't put in the efforts for a number of games, he has a way of making you know that you're not
slowly easing
exactly.
you up.
But with Grealish, I think he found a way to tolerate the Grealish situation. Yes, one of the issues he had with his play, I think, was he elaborated on the ball too much. The end product was non-existent. And then I think because he was coming from Aston Villa and he being the star player,
man, yep.
here he didn't have to be the star player. He had to share that with so many
touch the
players.
ball and pass,
He felt a little bit, I don't know, under pressure. But I think that Pep had been so...
He said himself that his first training session was nervous because he was paranoid about other players scrutinizing him for his price. Like he says, hey, if he touches the ball, what would they have to say about his first touch? If he runs, what would they have to say about his running?
Here we are now.
To be honest, I also think Grealish has had to do a lot of learning. Right? I think
playing under a smart manager will help you.
Even the tiny details.
Apparently,
Pep says that when Grealish came, he controls the ball at the outside of his boots. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
You don't do that. Stop.
You don't do that.
You understand? So I feel that
those
even
small
as a player,
things, it takes some time.
He's had to be rewired a little to learn some of the things. And I feel that once he's comfortable, when I watch him play, I can understand why City went for him, because look at all the players they have. I think he's the oddest one they have, and he's so unlike your typical Man City player. So sometimes
he's not a winger, he's not a number 10.
Sometimes having a player who has a slightly different profile to what you have always brings a certain level of unpredictability. And now that he's working hard, I think he's gradually beginning to show that he has that quality to help Manchester City. The challenge now is, what do England do with him? Because I look at Gareth Southgate. I don't think Southgate looks at Grealish as option A. You get it? He looks at somebody who's coming off the bench to help and all of that.
My MVP for Manchester City, though, is Nathan Ake. Left back, left centre back.
We have to give Pep credit.
No, it's not about Pep Guardiola.
Really, look, I always say this: the system is so important. Look at how good Akanji looks. Akanji looks like one of the best centre backs in the world.
And we know he was not that highly rated.
We saw him at Dortmund.
Yep.
Barca team, Barca performance.
Zufu player. Yes,
you get what I'm saying. But look at him now. The guy looks so assured. Like I can't remember the last time I saw him make a mistake. But I have to say again, the quality of the Man City team. And I'll say the first goal just encapsulates it.
I was that kind of team, like ball against, right? Like ASU, like full vim. Then the guy just post up, left shot from 25 yards. That's his weaker foot. The DM of your
exactly
team.
That's the point.
What?
The person who's the least goal threat
scores with his weaker foot from 25 yards. I think that would just knock the confidence out of any team. But again, right, like we've been gushing on about them. Big shout outs to the Manchester City players. Ilkay Gundogan, 2 ACL injuries and playing like, and he's playing like he's 24 years old. Like he barely ever puts a foot wrong for Manchester City. But big question: can Bayern overturn this deficit?
There's no way. And remember, I said it for that Upamecano.
Yeah,
he has to step up, and we saw him.
Man,
and the thing is,
you
are thinking, if Upamecano doesn't play, who plays as centre back instead?
Pavard.
Pavard at centre back.
Was that right
back? Right back. But as you play him at centre back, find a right back.
Okay, you play Pavard at
play
right
Cancelo
back.
maybe.
Oh, brother.
No, play Cancelo at right back.
The problem is that you don't just have to score 3 goals. You also have to make sure they don't score. And if you are playing Cancelo and Alphonso Davies, if you score 3, I'm sure City will score 5. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, no, I honestly cannot see a scenario where Manchester City don't score in the second leg, and that's the problem.
The point is that Munich, to start with, they will have to overcommit to get back into the tie. And we all know the risk.
Yeah, because if you are buying and you say you want to be compact and sit back and make it difficult, if you are Man City, what are you going to do? John Stones and Ruben Diaz, they'll play Abate at the back. They'll just be going.
Keep possession.
Because you have to press. You have to get the ball.
Shout outs to Pep Guardiola. I don't like shouting him out.
For a Champions League comeback, Ben, it's not easy. I think the last club to try and do this very well was Barcelona. Barcelona, when they lost that 4-0 to Paris Saint-Germain, and they had to win 6-1 at the Camp Nou to return it.
Oh, but what about when Liverpool lost 3-0 and won 4-0?
I don't know why he doesn't want to mention that.
I said the last team to try to do this.
But Liverpool did the exact 3 goals.
At your Camp Nou.
And didn't Liverpool have a lot of players missing for that?
I'm surprised. See, when you're a Barca fan, that's what happens to you.
Listen, but in all, I feel that if there's a team that will struggle against Bayern, it's not this Man City team. It's not this Man City team. If this game was to be against another team that are leading Bayern Munich by 3-0, and like at the Allianz Arena, I can say maybe Bayern have a chance of coming back. But against Pep Guardiola, no, and he knows the team also. He knows Bayern Munich. I think he's been there. He knows what they do. Yeah. So I think that once he's been part of their system before, he understands their philosophy, he understands what they do in match days and all that. Whatever tricks they have down their sleeves will be Tuchel's sleeve and not basically the club's. And he knows Tuchel also. He has faced him several times.
I think
there's no way back.
I just think that a previous iteration of Bayern Munich could possibly pull it off. Not this one. Not this one.
The Lewandowski badge.
Yes, I think that crop.
And don't forget also that team spirit has been broken a little by that Mane and Sane incident. So those things always have their spillover effects.
It is possible. They can turn it around.
I also want to say something. I know hindsight is 2020, but don't you think Bayern feel a bit foolish that you've hired Tuchel and basically what you were trying to avoid with Nagelsmann has
happened very quickly?
At least Nagelsmann was still in the cup. Maybe Nagelsmann would have won the game against Freiburg, right? There's no guarantee he would have lost, but he might have won as well. They're out of the cup. They have about a foot out of the Champions League, if we are being honest. And this was supposedly they won in the league, but really the whole issue was that Nagelsmann was going to just win the league, and they wanted more. Yeah. Really, what was the point?
He was doing great in the Champions League.
I don't think they had they conceded.
I can't think so. But they had done 8 out of 8.
I don't even think they had conceded so far. So it was just, hindsight is 2020, like I said, but I was critical of the decision after what has just happened. I feel like I was right about that one.
Collect your stone. Let's get to another game that happened. Let's talk about that Chelsea-Real Madrid game. Guys, when I saw that lineup for Chelsea, I'm like, okay, Lampard is on to something here. Very strong lineup. Everybody you expected to be in there was in there. I was especially happy to see N'Golo Kante because we spoke about how he missed out on the Premier League game over the weekend and how he was not in the state to play back-to-back games. He was in the mix. It looked like a solid game plan from Lampard, but in the end, Ramadan Karim showed up. Ramadan Karim will always show up. Real Madrid. Yeah.
It's Benzema's most dangerous around.
Ramadan Karim is a real thing.
But last year was the same thing. Champions League knockouts were around Ramadan, and the goals just started.
Yeah. Vinicius Jr. did his thing, but way back for Chelsea in this game, 2-0. It's still, I think it's still a lot of football to be played. Chelsea have enough quality on paper to turn this around. Tactical approach for Chelsea.
The issue with Chelsea is it's not about the comeback. It's about even if they'll score.
Yeah, yes.
It's about if Chelsea
I was
score.
going to say the exact same thing.
That's the major point here. See, just look at their last few games. Against Real Madrid, they lost 2-0. Wolves, there was that 1-0 defeat. Against Liverpool, goalless. Against Aston Villa, 2-0 defeat. In their last 4 games, they are struggling to score, and that's their major problem here. The goals.
What is it down to? Is it a lack of chance creation or players are not sharp in front of them?
If you look, if you watch Chelsea game,
they've created an XG of like 15 in their
chance creation has never been an issue. Yeah. And these were the things Graham Potter. These were the things Graham Potter and Todd Bowley and co were looking at and were saying that, you know what, Graham will eventually turn it around, because whenever they saw their XG after games, if you have a game XG in certain matches where it's 4.5, 3.5, it clearly shows that you are creating high quality chances. You are just not putting it away. What was always really puzzling for everybody was the fact that they had 2 natural forwards sitting on the bench but not using them. And I saw Aubameyang come into a game where in about 5 minutes he didn't score, but his movement, his involvement in the build-up and in the action could just tell you that this was somebody in his natural habitat, while the other people that were, namely Havertz and Joao Felix, were trying to adapt. One of the things I've come to a painful realization is that Joao Felix is not a goal scorer. I remember when he hit the limelight first at Benfica, there was a lot of noise about him before Atletico eventually went in for him. I started measuring him with the same yardstick, I'd measure Erling Haaland and Kylian
Then you
Mbappe.
realize that.
And then eventually I realized that, you know what, this guy's not really that kind of guy. He's not the robot Ronaldo or Mbappe. I want to score 5 goals in a game if I can. He likes to draw. He likes to play a lot of the football himself.
Yeah.
So I've just come to realize that, look, Chelsea need a change in mentality. If they are going to get goals, I don't get why Lampard is doing the very same things Graham Potter was doing that was not getting him. You are not playing Badiashile in the Champions League. You didn't register him. You are not playing him in the league
There's no
either.
Aubameyang as well.
He looks clearly like your most composed defender. You will not play him. You have Aubameyang in the mix. You will not play him. Dacho Fofana is there. You have him playing with your reserves and it just doesn't. A lot of the things they do there doesn't make sense. Like you're trying to get a change, but you are doing the same thing when you have been presented with the data on the sheet over and over again. I don't know.
I think their biggest problem all season is not getting that lethal striker. I think they didn't replace Romelu Lukaku well.
Oh, he's coming
yes,
back.
They didn't replace Lukaku, and that's what's hurting them now.
The issue was not replacing him. They should not have let him go.
No, he needed to leave. I think Lukaku needed to leave.
Tuchel's pride
Yeah.
caused them last season, that in the fact that even after the interview, there was still hope. He ended up as their top scorer last season.
Yes, but after the interview, I think that
no. I'm saying
staying
regardless
would have
of the
been difficult.
interview, he was their top scorer
but
last season.
Staying would have been difficult because he had lost that sort of rapport with the fans.
And that's why I'm saying that if Tuchel reintegrated him and gave him
You
a
mean
chance,
ego should not have been,
and he was
ego should not have been the
if
enemy.
Tuchel had reintegrated him and he was scoring goals. Remember, Lukaku has scored over 100 Premier League goals.
Yes.
So if you come and say that he can't cut in the Premier League, it's a dirty lie. The facts are there. How many players can score 100 goals in the Premier League? And he's done this before 30, mind you.
Yeah.
So this is the quality of player we're talking about. We know he can score goals. If Tuchel had reintegrated him and he's banging 20, 30 goals a season, I promise you the Chelsea fans would have forgotten about that interview. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So
That's perspective.
Yeah, you ask the question as to their problem this season. It's not really about the creation, it's about not having that lethal striker. As you said, Joao Felix, Raheem Sterling.
Joao Felix like what? A
Even
10?
Kai Havertz.
Like a number 10.
You look at all their profiles and you clearly don't see that striker who finish the attack for you always. And that's their major problem now. And once they've not been able to get the best of Aubameyang all season, they don't have him in the Champions League squad. I think that it's doomed for them against Real Madrid. As they're struggling to get goals, their options now for goals will be from set pieces. Yes. I think from set pieces is where they have to look at in terms of hitting Real Madrid at the
Honestly,
Stamford
if
Bridge.
you watch Chelsea, you could watch
With
them
that-
for 180
yeah.
minutes and you know nothing will happen.
I think with set pieces they can try to use that against Real Madrid. They may have a chance in that area of play.
Nathan, Chelsea, Real Madrid.
I didn't see the game. I was at a function.
You missed out on a lot.
Yeah, I did miss out. I was at a function. I was actually at Stoneboy's album listening session.
Oh, hard. Hard.
So
Hard.
That's what I spent my
Oh,
Wednesday
like,
night.
that was better than watching.
Hard.
But I find Chelsea's lack of goals very perplexing. And Ben, I completely agree with you as to why this Aubameyang like exile. You've put him on the bench, and yet you don't have natural out and out scorers. So why don't you bring him back? Unless, of course, there's something fundamentally wrong with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang that he doesn't fit into this team, because it's puzzling. You've got Joao Felix, who's struggling for goals. Raheem Sterling, and I look at Raheem Sterling now, and the drop-off is jaw-dropping. Like, you get it.
Pep Guardiola
It's
saw it.
coaching.
Pep Guardiola saw it.
Because we saw him, and again, we saw him at City.
Yeah.
They were using him in a very specific way. Put the ball into the 6-yard box penalty area. Make chances easy for him, and you deliver.
He will miss a couple, but he will eventually score a couple as well.
If you go and look at goals in the 6-yard box, Sterling has one of the highest rates of all,
Premier League player, at least the last 5-6 years.
Exactly. So there was clearly a plan there.
So I wonder how they will find goals against Real Madrid. But like Frank Lampard said they'll have to make it a special evening, and things can happen.
Why are you saying that thing like you don't believe it?
But you see, look, I said that. Some of these things, you can say them you can deceive yourself all you want.
Yeah.
You can give yourself all the hope in the world. Look, we'll do it. It's on English Steph. Yeah. You get onto the pitch and Charlie, they go swerve.
Ramadan Karim will show up.
You see, because Football, I've always said, it's not won by anthems and shouting and everything. Those are just, it's just extra spice. They are won by tactical schemes.
And these days, in-game management has even become more important.
Then I said on Tuesday night, the tactical war that was going on between Pep and Tuchel.
I'm telling you.
If nobody opens your eyes to see you, but there were things happening. So the point I'm making is that Frank Lampard, I understand you have to say things to get players going, but he will have to coach this team very well. You are down by 2. You need to find a response. And you know how dangerous Real Madrid are already.
And they are being coached by Carlo Ancelotti, former coach.
Listen, the masterclass Carlo Ancelotti pulled up on Barcelona in the Copa del Rey to win 4-0 at the Camp Nou.
Yeah.
That's huge.
After they had won at the Bernabeu and thought it was done.
So I think that, I don't know what will happen. Anything's possible, but I look at Chelsea and I say, they will have to find a lot.
And if you look at Ancelotti's resume in the Champions League, you might as well say don't play the match at all because it's
actually,
Carlo.
if it's anyone, that's the person that is most likely to throw away a lead.
A 2-0 lead?
Let me tell you this. I remember this. I was a very young boy, but I've never forgotten.
Real Madrid can easily throw 2 goals away.
Don't bring the 3-3 into
I'm not going to bring the 3-3.
Yeah.
You know, you see, the 3-3, he did it 2 seasons in a row. People forget this.
Yep.
The 3-3 was 2005. 2004. AC Milan played Deportivo La Corona. San Siro.
They
won 4-1.
They won 4-1.
4-1.
They lost.
Remember,
They lost at the Real.
we all know Deportivo are a great team, but they went to the Real and lost 4-0.
Was that not the Deport team that had all this Molina and
I'll be very honest. Ancelotti should have won 3 Champions Leagues in a row between 2003, 2004, and 2005.
I know what
he
you
really
mean.
should have.
I know
because
what you mean.
there was no reason to lose that.
That
Liverpool
Milan
team
team was.
There
really
was
better
no
than everybody
there
else
was
out
no
there.
reason to lose to Deportivo. I know they would have faced Mourinho in the semi-final, but I don't think. I know Mourinho is a great coach, but that AC Milan team at that period in time, I don't think they would have won that game. And that's on Ancelotti. He's thrown away leads before, and this is even why he got fired from Juventus. Don't forget, they felt he could not hold on to lead. So maybe it's better now, but I wouldn't bet against it if it was a team in form.
Yeah.
Keyword:
A team in
Chelsea
form.
are not in form. Again, Chelsea have gone about 4 or 5 games. They've not scored a goal.
They haven't scored in 4.
They can't
They
can't
score.
And they've not kept a clean sheet in 6.
It's tough.
Because it's this Chelsea team.
Yeah.
I don't see it. If it was Bayern, maybe despite what had happened to them, or Man City, or one of the form teams in the Champions League, I would say they have a chance, but not this Chelsea team. I think they are just too out of form.
Chelsea, they say the battle is too big for you. You cannot.
Is it possible? Yes. Will it be difficult? Yes.
Will
it be a reality?
Will it happen?
No.
Oh, Charlie.
So I remember I went to tweet something like many years ago, Charlie, the abuse I got on social. I remember when
Charlie, Chelsea fans are like an army
let
in
me
this
show you.
country.
So this was even Man United fans who went at me. This was, the seasons Chelsea signed Alvaro Morata.
Yeah.
They beat Man United 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. Remember that road show, AM PM?
Yep.
So that morning when I woke up, I tweeted, can Man United win at Stamford Bridge? Yes. Will they win at Stamford Bridge? No. The abuse I got that. Stupid journalist, foolish guy. That is why your career has stalled.
People tell you things online, it's crazy.
Charlie,
what is the meaning of
the
this?
one that shook me, and it was the first time I had received such a response. Somebody said, "Stupid journalist, you die young."
Because of football. Wow. Oh man. Some of you.
I'm sorry for laughing, but
some of you need to really relax. Charlie, like it's never that serious. It is never that serious.
Charlie, so can it happen? Possible. Will it happen? No.
Let's see how that goes. Let me read a few messages coming in. This one here is, I'm extremely happy the way Grealish is playing now. Mangala Jesse from Tinungwa Estate. This one here from Ni Banaman from Osu says, in the 2019-2020 season, United conceded 36 goals with Maguire and Lindelof's partnership. United have conceded 37 in 2022-2023. Ben, we all know Maguire is not the problem, but we keep pretending because he's Maguire.
I would like to respond to you. I'm a big fan of Maguire, but
this but
is very loaded and it's very important. The team was set up way differently in 1920. That was a more counter-attacking team. He was playing deeper. Now, if you are playing in this high pressing system, Ten Hag wants to play. You want Maguire to stand at the halfway line.
It won't work.
You are not being fair to him. It's not his skill set. He cannot do it. So, I agree with you that Maguire he's being scapegoated more than he deserves. There are mistakes there.
But you're also putting him in
you see, it's the
a
situation.
difficult situation.
If Maguire is playing a team that's playing deep, and that's why he looks good for England. Because England don't press high.
They don't press high.
England like to sit deep and let things happen. When you play your long balls to try and get through their packed midfield, Maguire will just jump and hit the ball. It's very easy for him. But if he has to now step out and do some of the defending, the same things you're complaining about Upamecano, he will do them. Just that Upamecano is fast, so he can catch up.
So
Maguire is not fast. So let's be fair. I get you. You are right. Maguire does get more criticism than he deserves. But he cannot play in this Ten Hag team as it's currently set up.
I would have Maguire reinstated as United captain as soon as possible.
But he's still captain.
Nobody has taken the man away from him.
Play our captain.
He's still captain.
Let my captain start the game. My captain.
Where?
Old Trafford. Let my captain start the
Put in
game.
a high line.
Well, by the looks of it,
he'll get to play more.
Oh, now
the reports I'm seeing is Varane will at least 3 weeks.
We the faithful United fans will look forward to Maguire's outstanding performances in the coming weeks.
And that's what I'm saying. So Lisandro is gone for
What's
the
Lisandro
season.
there? He's gone.
Varane is out for the next 3 weeks.
So it is the old duo are back.
Or maybe Phil Jones.
Oh, Lindelof.
Phil Jones is torn. Phil Jones torn the bill.
He might as well come.
Isn't Twanzebe also on over there?
Twanzebe has actually been decent. We went on loan with Napoli. He went on loan somewhere. He was pretty decent.
I mean, Twanzebe is there. Phil Jones is there. Maybe they'll partner Lindelof.
Phil Jones might as well start earning his salary because
Lindelof and
Phil Jones they collect free money.
Lindelof and
Need Tojo from Temanuta says Ghana Sports needs diligent, dedicated, disciplined, trustworthy, and accountable persons to handle various positions.
That's true.
Capito Tornado is right. I remember Asamoah Baby Jet paid plane tickets for some Black Stars players, and he also paid some bonuses for Black Princesses. Divine from Ho. Today is your birthday. Shout out to
Happy birthday, Divine.
Alvinho from Akosomo says Ben Nathan has said it all. Apart from even Apia, educated former players like Ahimfo, Chipsa, and the rest have not been used to improve the game in Ghana.
Well, I think they made Ahimfo part of the under-17.
That's what they're saying. They say these things are not enough. Put them in positions where they can affect policy, like you yourself are saying. This one here from Adabraka says football is not about the English language. Those who played understand it better. They can make the current situation better. They have to be part of the decision making. Okay. This one here says, hi Panorama team. If you say administrative courses is a good idea, you've gone far. Most of our juvenile teams have to choose between a football career or education. Meanwhile, the initial plan for Ghanaman had classrooms. Interesting.
So we have to learn to do the two
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
This one here says our problem is in this country we think education is only formal. The likes of Apia are highly educated individuals if we understand what football education means. Okay, Daniel from Agulon Kwanta. I think I see where you're coming from. This one says that great show by all standards. I think that Nana Odro-Sako's comments were unnecessary. Onga from Madina. Onga, Nana Odro will take you do soup. Don't
Nana Odro.
I like Bass. I like Nana Odro. Bass.
This one,
I recently heard some very
Let's end with some United bits and then Premier League. We'll preview that Man City Leicester game this weekend. It's a big one. But
I can see AC Milan's amazing victory is being overlooked.
No.
We have to give me
just quick thoughts on that for me. Napoli missing out on Victor Osimhen, and does it look like he'll be back for the second leg?
Saying he'll play the second leg. But I have to say, I believe AC Milan have not handled this tie well, and I'll explain. When they got the red card, they should have gone for the kill. But interesting enough, that's when Napoli looked the most dangerous, and Mike Maignan had to make a lot of very good saves.
Yes.
So they're in a good position. Kim Min-jae, their best centre back, won't be playing. Zambo Anguissa won't be playing. So those are two very big misses.
Yeah.
But if it's one goal and it's the Sao Paulo and Osimhen is back, it's not easy. And I think
it's not. Don't worry, don't be scared.
I didn't say I'm scared.
AC Milan just went there recently.
Okay, so then Lisandro Martinez injury says it's a fractured fifth metatarsal in his right foot.
Yes. So I think that's his
the one when
yeah, sounds very serious.
So my thing is injury. The thing is a one goal lead is anything can happen when there's one goal. You see, If it was 2, I'd be a bit more confident. I'm not saying that I don't think. I think going in the game with the injuries and that kind of stuff, they are favorites. But you have to think about one goal. Anything can happen. If your player messes up and mistimes the tackle and gets a red card in the 20th minute, that's a very long game to play.
It is.
You know, so all these things, that's what concerns me about going into the second leg with just one goal.
But guys,
I
let me
think they're
ask
in a
you
very
this.
good position.
Guys,
But
okay, so
the tie is far from over.
let me ask all of us this: should Napoli get KO'd at this stage, will all of us who look on as neutrals, will we be disappointed if Napoli exit at this stage?
Oh, I will be disappointed. I mean,
This is the farthest they've ever gone.
Yeah,
Is that not an achievement in itself?
It is an achievement, you see, but sometimes when you look at how far you've come in a certain journey and you see the destination, not being able to get there, knowing your ability will hurt you yourself. Look at the kind of look. I can say that on paper, on the ground as well, they play the best football this season. Take everything aside, Man City, Real Madrid, Barca.
You feel
Napoli have played the best football
Because
this season.
when I saw the result, I kept asking myself, like, how will everybody feel?
Yeah,
because I feel, I mean, maybe I'm looking at it from a romantic perspective.
Yeah.
When you look at Napoli, they are on their way to winning a Scudetto.
Yeah.
They've not done that since Maradona's days. And they were at this point, and then they exit.
You have this Milan team. This Milan team is a vulnerable Milan
and then
team.
It may feel anticlimactic, maybe on the Napoli, but Milan will be delighted.
You know what the truth is? Inter would have knocked them out too.
No, that's the honest truth. They've been struggling against the bigger teams.
Inter would have.
Inter, I can understand because Simeone Inzaghi has turned himself into this cup specialist guy who does well in the cup games.
Inter were going to the truth. Inter were going to knock them out.
But the crazy thing again about Napoli is that every time they win a game, right? When I've seen them play, they have to dominate the game possession-wise. They have to play nice.
They haven't learned to win ugly
at all. Every time they've had to be tested where the game has gotten a little more physical than they would want, a little more scrappy than they would want. They always struggle to find coordination, struggle to create chances.
And that's basically what AC Milan have over them. If you watch AC Milan last season, in the
Some of the games
in the last about 10, 15 games, I think about 8 or 12, some ridiculous number ended 1-0. It was just 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Napoli don't do that. They are not a 1-0 team. And sometimes you need that kind of just to hold out.
I know this is like very stereotypical, but think about an Italian team that don't need to score more than one goal to win a game. But I can understand. Spalletti's always been this guy to try. I mean, look at his Roma side, very eccentric Roma side, the famous 4-6.
Yeah, he was the one who made the false nine popular again.
Yes, with Francesco Totti. But like I said, it's a very fascinating matchup.
Yeah.
Let's see what Napoli have in them.
Yeah.
To do this.
Nathan, just talk to me about United before we go. We're almost out of time. Yeah. Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, the home ground of the competition's landlord.
That will be tough. United didn't help themselves last night with what happened.
Their biggest luck is that away goals don't count anymore.
Yes, so they start all over again. Can they do it? I think they can, because Sevilla might.
Wouldn't Sevilla be looking at this and say, if we could play this poorly and still come up with two goals,
of course. I
have these people.
I think United will be under pressure. But where I feel United may have it is that should they get under pressure, they may have to play on the break. And I think we've seen them play on the break very, very well. But they will have to be ready to go and slug it out there. The crowd, the history of Sevilla, the fact that they are still alive in the tie, and the fact that at home, in the previous rounds, they've played home first and then they struggled away. Now that they have a draw away and they are going back home, they'll be buoyed. And United will have to be ready to deal with very uncomfortable moments in that game. But if I look at how United handled the tie at the Camp Nou and then against Betis in Spain, I think United can survive. Can they hit on the break? They can. But it will be a very complicated game. Very emotionally draining game for Man United. And they'll need to be up for it. I'm reading reports that Marcus Rashford is being considered. No, don't rush Marcus Rashford back. Don't at all.
We also have to consider Sevilla in a relegation fight right now.
Yeah, they are 5 points above the draw.
Yeah, 5 points above.
They are not in a good position. So I don't think
I think that this also favors Man United because of the fact that Sevilla have to
I think we should
think
also
about the La Liga fight as well.
I think Sevilla looks at this competition as probably a relief.
Yep.
Because teams can do horrible in the league and do well in cups. It's an escape.
Yeah. And if any team think that they can do well in this competition, it is them.
And United will have to overcome another test.
And also, it's also a place where United have never won before.
Yes, so they will have to try hard and do it. They won't have Bruno, but they'll have Eriksen. They won't have Casemiro. They won't have Martial. And shout outs to Tony Martial. For a lot of people who always wondered what Tony Martial gave to Man United, I think the first 30, 45 minutes from last night should remind you, he's great at leading the line. He can drop deep. And of all of Man United's forwards, and I dare say this, he's the best dribbler they have. Knows how to work through tiny spaces, can hold on to the ball, can find people. So United will have to use all their tools available. Marcel Sabitzer is a weapon they can employ because there's no Bruno and all. So I think it will be a very complicated game. Emotionally, it will be tasking, but United can go through. But I'm not ruling out Sevilla. Sevilla can turn on the heat, and they can also go past Man United.
For me, United cannot play like the way they ended the game. It's very important for them.
With 10 men.
I find something crazy. Like, what happened to the love for Tyrone last year? I see United fans have turned on him overnight.
To be honest,
exactly.
Ben, you saw Sevilla's first goal.
Yep.
More like,
the point
he went
is,
to sleep.
shot across
you don't sleep. Never turn your back to the play.
Oh no, but
Nathan,
that's one bad game equal a bad season for a player.
No, not at all. You see,
so why are the fans on him then?
You see, fans will act emotionally. I can look at it and come and decouple myself. This is what I think. He's young.
Yeah,
he's
still in the learning process. It's a big team.
These are the mistakes. Look, even Patrice Evra. Do you know Patrice Evra's first game for Man United? It was a Manchester derby. They sent him home after 45 minutes. So players can have nightmares, and it can happen. These are lessons. He will look at it and say, let me not commit this error again. And next week, he has an opportunity to play again, depending on what happens to Luke Shaw. So these things will happen. These things will. And United, they have always said some of these bad performances were coming. And when you play a team that is smart, they can see and cause you to be in these dark spots. So I won't go after Tyrone. Yeah, he went to sleep. It happens. Players go to sleep. Even the best defenders sleep on the job.
Well, Ben, so for me, I think that United have to start the game very well. They have to make sure they take the lead, because if you're playing against Sevilla away from home and you allow them to take a 2-0 advantage, a 3-0 lead over you. See, there is no way back for you if Sevilla take a 3-0 lead or 2-0 lead. They know how to manage the game in a day at home. So I think United have seen the Sevilla side. They know what Sevilla can do now. And you must know, until the final whistle, you don't sleep against the Europa. They are the Europa Masters. You don't sleep against them.
The Europa
they always come
Masters.
back.
Yep. That's the word there. This weekend, big game, Man City, Leicester. That's one to look out for.
But Leicester City.
Hey, again.
This is serious.
What have they done?
No, I'm just saying, Ben, they've sleepwalked into this relegation.
Oh no, but it was happening the whole season. I'm just surprised at the timing of the sacking of Benitez, Rodgers. But that's the.
I heard an interesting stat that I don't think they've won any game by 1 goal. All the games they've won by 2 goals.
Oh yeah.
We should tell you that part of their problem is that when the game is a bit close, they are not mentally there. So when they are leading by 1 goal and the team is pushing them, they give up the lead.
A team that gave up 2 injury time goals to Spurs, but at 90 minutes you are leading Spurs.
It was at 93. They were 2-1 up.
Yeah, 2-1 up.
Spurs scored, and they kicked off and somehow let Spurs score again. That's they are just not mentally tough. I don't usually like to give mental analysis when it comes to football, because tactics is a lot of it.
Yeah.
Tactics and player quality. But this is one situation where it's definitely on their head.
Exactly. For me, I think that the top of the Premier League will remain the same after this weekend. The chase will still be on. Arsenal, City.
Arsenal top, City second.
Exactly. I don't expect any major changes this weekend. I expect them to all sail through, and then we see how things will progress.
Any quick shouts before we go?
They have a list too.
Hey, Charlie.
Today their birthdays were this weekend.
Get on with the shouts.
So I'll give Daniel from Afenia the first shout, because he demanded on Twitter that I shout him out. So I'll give him the shout. Usra Undi. So shout out to him.
That phrase is a very powerful phrase.
That's the title of my favorite.
No. He asked for it.
And he was out there.
No, I'm saying Usra Undi. Ask and you shall receive.
No, hold on. Do you understand?
Of course he understands.
That's what it means. Ask and you shall receive.
Let us move on from that.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to give there's a few birthdays, so I'll give a birthday shout out to my man Jojo Addison. He's a musician, he's a big man. happy birthday to him. And yesterday there were a few birthdays.
Jojo Addison, the guy man.
Yeah,
hard.
today's birthday.
That's the only song I probably heard from him, but that song is hard. That's a Hall of Fame stuff.
That's my guy. So happy birthday to my bro there. Then my good friend NS Danso. Yesterday was his birthday, so we are celebrating today. So if you see me in town, we are celebrating NS.
Disclaimer.
Then
Nice
the last one is for our former colleague Ni Ama. The original Ni.
Oh,
Prime.
you mean Amaski?
The original Ni
No,
Prime.
hard.
Before Ni Latte Lari.
Yeah.
There was Ni Ama.
Hard. Amaski.
So that's the original Ni Prime. It was his birthday yesterday.
No,
so
Amaski's a big one.
we have to give him a shout out because he's forever a citizen. So happy birthday to Amaski.
Doing it big in the US.
Pichichi?
You have
Pichichi.
shout? You don't have shout?
There must be some research tonight. That's it from us here. My name is Benjamin Nketia Nathan Kwa. Thank you very much. Thank you, Susu Graham. Thank you, Pichichi, aka Evanto Fuchumanso. Thank you guys for sending us messages. Big ups to Betway and Shell Helix for making this show possible. The Premier League preview show will come up right after this. A lot of insights on this weekend's games. Enjoy.